Congressional oversight or Antifa gone wild? This episode of Right Angle is brought to you by the members of BillWhittle.com. I'm Scott Ott with Bill Whittle and Stephen Green. And gentlemen, a congresswoman has been arrested in Newark, New Jersey for being part of a group that tried to impose itself upon a Immigration and Customs enforcement facility there in Newark. And the Department of Justice has decided to press charges against Congresswoman LaMonica McIver, a Democrat, of course, because she allegedly assaulted police officers, and there are several charges related to that. Leading Democrats, Steve Green, House Democrats, are basically saying that her assault, and whether that was physical in terms of battery or just the fact that she was, in the tape I heard, continually using the Lord's name in a way that it should not be used and telling police to keep their hands off her and resisting what they were trying to do and impeding law enforcement. Anyway, the leading Democrats are saying every member of Congress has the right to exercise oversight over the executive branch. Now, Steve Green, I am a rookie to this whole governance thing. But my understanding was that Congress was a couple of legislative bodies and that no individual member had any individual authority to act, but that they acted only as of one voice in response to legislation. Steve, can you steer me straight on this constitutional issue of a congresswoman exercising executive branch oversight by showing up at an ICE facility and muscling her way in?
Yeah, you just have to remember, I wish I knew who to give credit to for this line, but once you've heard it, and you probably have by now, at least I hope you have, once you heard it, everything starts to make sense. The left believes that your speech is violence and their violence is speech. And
that's profound.
Yes.
And they're not even shy about it. This isn't like some subtle little game they play. You go in and you start slapping ICE officers around, you're just exercising your freedom of speech. But if I say something that offends a guy with a beard and a skirt who wants to enter the ladies' room, I have committed an act of violence against them. I am committing virtual genocide. No, literal genocide against them. And this is the way it's worked for I don't even know how long. Because, well, here's another thing you have to remember, and I do know who to give credit to for this line because it's me. This one's mine. Double standards are the best standards because you get twice as many. Isn't that nice?
That's double plus good.
It is double plus good. And so, I mean, I've seen the video. If you're thinking assault in the terms of like a bar brawl, with people, throwing punches and, pulling out knives and all that, it's not that. But if you watch cop shows or you, even better yet, you watch those videos of stupid people getting pulled over by the police and turning what should have been body cam videos. Yeah, what should have been, a ticket into a felony arrest. Because if you touch the cop, that's assault. And that's what she did. Now, I don't know if a jury would convict her, but we've seen Democrats and the left get away without any kind of legal sanction or reprisal with this kind of illegal nonsense for decades. And the reason why they keep doing it is we let them. We don't punish them. So I don't know what a jury would do with Congress Critter McIver. I doubt they'd convict. I assume it's going to be where's the jurisdiction? Do you happen to recall?
I do not know. It's in Newark, New Jersey, is where it happened, but I don't. The Department of Justice has filed the charges, so it's a federal.
Okay, so it's federal, but again, it'll depend on the jury. I'm assuming a jury is not going to convict her, but the thing is, she's got to have her day in court. There has to be some kind of punishment, and as we've seen time and time again, particularly with the January 6th protesters, the process is the punishment. And my advice to the Department of Justice, not that they need my advice to them is drag this out and make it hurt.
Bill Whittle, it seems to me that if I were a leader of the Democratic Party, first of all, there'd be a phone call from me to Representative McIver saying, listen, there's a right way to do things and there's a wrong way to do things. And we're with you on your complaints about immigration and customs enforcement. But making this a one-woman show where you try to barge into an ICE facility and then start cursing at cops and muscling them around a little bit, and you know, I don't want to go too far in those allegations. Body cam was really sketchy, but you could hear her voice and how she was yelling. But this is not the way to do it. Let's send a delegation from a committee in Congress with authority from Congress to check out this facility and find out what's going on. That's the legitimate way to exercise congressional oversight. We can subpoena documents. We can request a tour. We can do all kinds of things within our constitutional authority without usurping the executive's role and frankly, usurping the role of Congress by taking it upon yourself to go in there and do that. Bill, I think that's what bothers me most about this, no matter how the case comes out, is that a member of Congress feels entitled to act as an independent governor.
Yeah. Well, entitlement is the word. It's the word of the century so far. Being on the Armed Services Oversight Committee doesn't give you the right to kick open the door of the Combat Information Center on the USS Nimitz and start pushing buttons. So there's that aspect of it. I do think that the body cam thing that Steve mentioned has some relevance here, because I think this is a generational thing, and it's a result of two generations of people now who have been raised without ever having to face consequences for their actions. You see this in these body cam videos again and again and again, where people are pulled over for a simple traffic ticket, just a very simple traffic ticket. And the officer will say, "Can I have your driver's license?" "What do you need my driver's license for?" And then this escalates, "Ma'am, you're going to have to step out of the car." "I don't have to step out of the car." No one's ever told them no. No one's ever had any consequences. And what you find that's heartbreaking about this, and I'm coming around to make the point, but when you look at these body cam videos, you find that these people will then go on and assault 3 police officers. Now they've got 3 or 4 felony charges, and they're all dropped. So they get away with it again. This is something we're seeing across the entire spectrum of our society. It's the vulgarization of society because there is no consequences for base and unseemly actions. None. Zero. I think Jasmine Crockett is contributing to this enormously.
Who's that?
Jasmine Crockett. By the rhetoric that she is using in Congress during sessions of Congress, it's simply inappropriate, and it's lowering the bar. So yes, absolutely something needs to happen. If she put hands on a law enforcement officer, that's one thing. Look, if she wants to lead a protest outside the gates of this facility, that is not only well within her rights as a representative, it's well within her rights as an American. Once you start crossing the line into violating the law, then you should have to pay the consequences. And if you put your hands on a police officer, that is battery on Leo. And you don't get to say, I'm exercising my First Amendment rights here by striking a policeman. I have to tell you, what Steve said a minute ago is so clarifying that I just don't think there's anything else I can add to it. The left thinks that our speech is violence and that their violence is speech. And it's not. And it's about time they learned that it isn't.
Well, when I look at this, I think, first of all, an ICE facility is a detention center for people who are accused of having broken our laws, from breaking into this country illegally. The Congresswoman responds to whatever problems are going on in this ICE facility or that she thinks are going on in this ICE facility by breaking the law, by getting into a shoving match and yelling at law enforcement officers. And all of this in service of the accusation that the U.S. government is acting unlawfully. And so, the irony here is just beyond anything you can imagine. I mean, what happened, for all of his faults, what happened to the spirit of Dr. Martin Luther King? Where, you may show up at the ICE facility, you may sing, you may protest, you may pray, but you don't try to shove your way in, and you don't start cursing cops and pushing them around. That has been effective in the past, the King tactics, so-called. This just seems to basically say that we live in a violent society, our government is violent toward us, our response should be violence toward the government, and if anybody tries to hold me to account for that, then perhaps they deserve violence against them as well. God forbid that a judge would actually speak out against these people and say, Congresswoman, you don't have a right to do this. Can you imagine if the Democrat House actually said, we're going to censure you, Congresswoman, for doing something outside of the bounds of your role as a member of Congress. We want to keep you as a member, but you deserve to be rebuked for this and to be brought back into line. I live in a dream world, ladies and gentlemen, but I really would like to get to that place. For Bill Whittle and Stephen Green, I'm Scott Ott. Thanks to the members at BillWhittle.com for making Right Angle possible.